Alright guys, what is up here? Delphball WoW coming at you with another Legion update. Today we're going to go over the Death Knight talents, and I will say I do feel like a dumbass. I'm so sorry, like I'm still very new to this. I didn't really think about everything that I should have, and I'm sorry. But from here on out, everything will be 100% on point and correct. So before, I would see a talent that we already have, and I would actually say that, oh well, we have that already, and then I would ignore it. But I've actually, I've realized in my last video of talents, and someone else mentioned it to me, that the talents do actually change, even if it's the same name. They have changed everything. So, again, I'm so sorry. It's all, bound to change anyways, because we're going to be going into beta, and, a lot's still going to be changing. We're just right now in early alpha. So, I'm going to do more updated things later anyways, but I am so sorry for me being a dumbass, basically. Alright guys, so let's dig right into it. We're going to start with Unholy. Now I will tell you that the talents in live right now don't change, like, at all, from Unholy to Frost to Blood. So there's really no point in having this up for everything. I just wanted to do it just in case something is different, Alright, so we're going to start here in the 56 tier. By the way, Death Knights start at 55, so 55 to 60, they do the first 4 tiers. Alright, so in the 56 tier, we're going to be looking at Lil Stinker. So whenever your ghoul uses Claw, it exhales a gaseous cloud that damages nearby enemies for 6 seconds. That's actually a pretty cool talent. I will say, I do like that. Give you that little bit. But is it channeled? Like, I don't want it to be, like, channeled. Like, that'd kind of be like a waste, but, I mean, that'd be cool. That'd be cool either way. Alright, so next we're going to look at Shadow Infusion. So, dealing damage with Death Coil will increase the cooldown. Oh, I'm so sorry. Dealing damage with Death Coil will decrease the cooldown of Dark Transformation by 8 seconds. I think that's pretty awesome. I mean, there's no cooldown on it right now, I don't think. Maybe they put a cooldown on it in Legion, so I guess we'll see. Next we're going to look at All Will Serve. So your Raise Dead spell summons an additional skeletal minion, and its cooldown is removed. What? Oh, so you get 2! Oh, that's awesome! See, when it said Raise Dead, I was thinking the Army of the Dead. No, but that's cool. So no cooldown, and you basically get 2 skeletal minions. So that's actually... See, oh, okay. Maybe that's why they put a cooldown on Dark Transformation, so you can't just, like, constantly have 2 dark transformed minions or something. Yeah, I feel like that'd be really overpowered. But alright, so the next tier, the 57 tier, we're going to be looking at Pestilent Pustules. So, Festering Strike now applies 1 to 5 Festering Wounds, and the runic power gained from triggering a Festering Wound is increased by 3. You're going to apply 1 to 5, I guess it's kind of just based on, RNG, and then you're going to get more runic power from it. So definitely not a bad talent. But next we're going to look at Blighted Runeblade. Your successful auto attacks have a chance to infect your target with a Festering Wound. So that's, again, not bad at all. You get an extra Festering Wound from an auto attack. So, not bad. The next thing we're going to look at is called Boiling Rot. So Death and Decay or Defile ticks will trigger Festering Wound. Each time it does, the duration of Death and Decay is extended by 1 second. Okay, so basically you're going to want to, get your Festering Wound kind of, spread over people, and then drop your Death and Decay, and it'll be up the whole duration. That's freaking beautiful. That's so awesome. Alright, next we're going to look at Runic Longevity in the 58 tier. So you gain a 7th rune, and the regen rate of your rune is increased by 10%. I don't know who wouldn't want to take that. That is beautiful. Like a 7th rune? That's great. Alright, next we're going to look at Runic Empowerment. So, I do believe we have that right now, but we're going to look at both of them and see what kind of changes we have. So when you spend Runic Power, you have a 1% chance per Runic Power spent to activate a random fully depleted rune. When you spend Runic Power, you have a 1.5 chance per Runic Power spent to activate it. Okay, so they nerfed it just a tiny little bit. I mean, that 0.5%, that's probably not, yeah, so, just a small nerf, a little difference there. And then next we're going to look at Runic Corruption, which again we already have, so let's go ahead and look at both of them. So in Legion, when you spend Runic Power, you have a 1% chance per Runic Power spent to increase your rune regeneration rate by 100% for 3 seconds. And then here, here we are going to be looking at when you spend runic power, you have a 1 point. Okay, so it's the same thing. Again, they just dropped it a little bit to 1.5 instead of 1%. So, not bad at all. I always liked these, but runic longevity just sounds like awesome. That constant, like 10% increase regen rate is just beautiful. Alright, next we're going to be looking at the 60 tier. We're going to have March of the Damned. It's a 1.25 min cooldown. You become immune to all movement impairing effects, and effects that cause you to lose control of your character for 10 seconds don't break effects in progress. Yeah, I mean, well, it's kind of Lichborn. It's got less cooldown, but that's, you know, I mean, that's basically what Lichborn does, except for the, you know, immunity to loss control. So that's not bad. Good little PvP talent there. Next, we're going to have Spellbreaker, which is going to increase anti-magic shell's duration by 60% and maximum absorption value by 50%. See, like, that is a great talent. Like, that's a strong defensive talent. Like, that's actually going to be really awesome. And then next, we're going to look at Desecrated Ground. It's a 1 minute cooldown, and that's going to corrupt the ground in an 8-yard radius beneath the Death Knight for 10 seconds. While standing in this corruption, the Death Knight is immune to roots, snares, and effects that cause loss of control. I believe that is exactly the same as what we have here. Except now it's a 1 minute cooldown. Before it was a 2 minute cooldown. But it's the same thing, you know, roots, snares, effects that cause loss of control. All that good stuff. So, next we're going to look at Purgatory. It's in the 75 tier. It's going to be an unholy pact that prevents death when you sustain fatal damage, instead absorbing incoming healing equal to the amount of damage prevented lasting 3 seconds. If any healing absorption remains when this effect expires, you will die. The effect may only occur every 3 minutes. Pretty sure that's the exact same thing. Yeah. So this is the same. Then we're gonna look at Death Pact. It's a 2 minute cooldown. It heals the Death Knight for 50% of max health and absorbs incoming healing equal to 25% of the max health for 15 seconds. So yep, again, same thing. Even the cooldowns is gonna be the same on this one. And then next we're gonna look at improved Icebound Fortitude. So reduces the cooldown of Icebound Fortitude by, well, 60,000 seconds and increases its damage reduction by 15%. So you're actually gonna have negative cooldown on that. I'm just kidding. It's probably supposed to be like 60 seconds, because right now Icebound Fortitude is a 3 minute cooldown. So it's probably supposed to be 60 seconds. But it increases the damage reduction effect by 15%. So you know, where can you go wrong with that, right? So that's definitely not a bad little talent there. Next, we're going to look at Gorfien's Grasp in the 90 tier. It's a 2 minute cooldown. Shadowy tendrils coil around all enemies within 20 yards of a target, hostile or friendly, pulling them into the target's location. 2 minute cooldown. Okay, so they actually upped the cooldown of it in this. Other than that, it's pretty much the exact same. It's instant, but you know, that 1 minute to 2 minute cooldown. I'm not really sure why they would do that, honestly. I mean, but you know, I'm sure Blizzard has their reasons. Next, we're going to look at Remorseless Winter. It's a 1 minute cooldown. It surrounds the Death Knight with a swirling tempest of frigid air for 8 seconds, chilling enemies within 8 yards for every 1 second. Each pulse reduces target's movement speed by 15% for 3 seconds, stacking up to 5 times. Upon a 5th application, the enemy will be stunned for 6 seconds. Pretty sure it's going to be the exact same. 1 minute cooldown, 1 minute cooldown. Yeah, it's the exact same as it was before. Next, we're going to look at Asphyxiate. It's a 1 minute cooldown. Lifts an enemy target off the ground and crushes their throat with dark energy, stunning them for 4 seconds. Functions as a silence if the target is immune to stun. The only difference right now is that it was a 30-second cooldown, and now is a 1 minute cooldown. And it actually doesn't say it replaces Strangulate. So maybe that's why they put it on a 1 minute cooldown. Maybe it doesn't actually replace Strangulate anymore. So, again, very cool, very cool. Alright, let's go ahead and take a look at this last little tier here. So the 100 tier, we're going to be looking at Tortured Spirit. It's a 20-second cooldown. You summon a slow-moving but powerful spirit to assist you in combat for 20 seconds. Each time the spirit strikes, it grows more powerful. So, 20 seconds. Let's hope it can get some good hits in. But I mean, it's pretty much like that would always be up, right? Like it's out in combat for 20 seconds, and then by the time it comes off cooldown, it's right back up again. The only thing is that it's gonna have to build up again, you know, for more damage. So you kind of gotta decide if you wanna, you know, have that in there every 20 seconds to build up for more damage. All right, next we're gonna look at Defile. So this is 1 rune and 10 runic power. It's an insta cast. It's a 30-second cooldown. Defiles the ground targeted by the Death Knight every 1 second. If there are any enemies standing in the defile, it deals 33% of attack power, Shatter Frost damage to them, and grows in radius and damage by 2.5%. So, as long as it, like, every 1 second, if there's an enemy in there, it'll get bigger and grow and do more damage. But it is a little different for Blood and Unholy. It does some extra stuff. So for Blood, enemies standing in your defile, it'll deal 10% less damage to you. And it replaces your Death and Decay, obviously. So basically, like, this is, you know, you would take less damage from everything that's in it. So that's not bad at all. Not a bad little extra defense there for Blood. And then Unholy, all it does is it replaces Death and Decay. It doesn't do any extra stuff. And I believe right now, yep, every 1 second, if there are any, it deals Shatter Frost damage to them and grows in radius and damage by 2.5%. So the only real difference here is that for Blood, it's actually gonna be a little damage decrease there. So not bad at all. And then finally, we're gonna look at Breath of Sindragosa. It's 0 runic power plus 15 per second. It's a 2-minute cooldown. It continuously deals 100% of attack power Shatter Frost damage every 1 second to enemies in a cone in front of you within 12 yards. It deals reduced damage to secondary targets, and you will continue breathing until cancelled or until your runic power is exhausted. So no more runic power is when it'll stop. But we're gonna look at it here for Blood. When Breath of Sindragosa deals damage, you actually heal for 25% of all damage taken in the last 6 seconds. It's a minimum of 3% of your max health, and it does trigger Blood Shield. So for Unholy, it's actually going to deal damage, and it'll actually refund 3 energy to your ghoul. So that's not bad. So you're going to do this, and your ghoul's going to get more energy. You can stun again and all that. So here it's, 2-minute cooldown, 2-minute cooldown, 15 runic power per second. Deals reduced damage to secondary. You will continue breathing. Yep, okay, so again, only difference is that for Unholy, you're going to get energy for your ghoul, and Blood, you're actually going to get a heal for him, and it's going to trigger your Blood Shield. So, not a bad trade-off there at all. Taking that. It's 2-minute cooldown, though, you know. But, alright, so, kind of the same talents. You see quite a bit of the same ones in here with some added effects here. But definitely not bad at all. Definitely not bad. I'm curious to see how my specs are going to be. I love Unholy, so let's go ahead and jump over to Blood. Alright, so let's go ahead and take a look at this. We're going to get Bloodworms. So if your Death Strike would heal you past full health, you actually create a Bloodworm. Your Bloodworm explodes if they aren't fed for 10 seconds or when you drop below 50% health. And it heals you for 100% of the amount of excess healing. So, I mean, think about it. Like, really, if you Death Strike at full health and you get that Bloodworm, and, I mean, like, you can actually, this would be, like, a good defensive talent, like, when you're tanking in a boss fight. Like, you know, a big mechanic is about to come. I mean, you can just have your healers heal you to full, and then get a few Death Strikes out, and get those Bloodworms. So, definitely not a bad little defensive there. Next, we're going to look at Feeding Frenzy. So excess runic power consumed by Death Strike increases the potency of the heal effect by an additional 15%. Not bad at all. Not bad. So the more runic power you spend on it, the more of a heal it's gonna do. That's fair, right? That's fair. And then we're gonna look at Rune Tap. So it's gonna cost you 2 runes and 20 runic power. It's a 2-minute cooldown. You consume a rune to restore 20% of your health, and you may recast the ability within 3 seconds without triggering the cooldown. So you can actually, so it's a 2-minute cooldown, but you can actually basically get 40% of health off of it. So that's not bad at all. Alright, so next we're going to look at the 57 tier. So it's going to be Rapid Decomposition. So your Defile or Death and Decay does 25% more damage to targets infected by Blood Plague, and you gain 50% increased healing from Blood Plague when standing in your Death and Decay. So that's definitely not bad. You know, you'll do more damage, and you're actually going to get more health back from if you stand in it. So, not a bad little deal there. And then next we're going to look at Ossuary. It's a 1-minute cooldown. Standing in your Death and Decay also causes Morrowind to hit multiple targets, and if Morrowind hits at least 2 targets, an additional Bone Shield charge has a chance to regenerate. So you actually will get a chance to get more Bone Shield charges, which is definitely not bad at all. Like I think that's a great talent to have. But alright, next let's go ahead and look at Consume Vitality. It's 1 rune, and it's going to be 10 runic power. 20-second cooldown. You drain life from all nearby enemies, damaging them for 75% of attack power, shatter damage, and restoring 25% of your Mike Tyson's playing. And restoring 25% of your missing health. So that's not a bad little 20-second cooldown for one rune and some runic power. I mean, you're gonna get 25% of your missing health, so that's not bad at all. Alright, so in the next tier we're gonna have Runic Longevity, which again we did see in the Unholy for Legion. Runic Empowerment and Runic Corruption, all the same here again. March of the Damned, Spellbreaker and Desecrated Ground we all had. Purgatory and Death Pact we all had in the Unholy Legion. And then finally we're going to look at Exhume in the 75 tier. It's a 1-minute cooldown and you gain a charge of Bone Shield every second for 10 seconds. So not a bad little defensive cooldown there. Every second for 10 seconds. It's a 1-minute cooldown, so I mean to get one every second, that's not bad at all, you know. So I think this will be a pretty good defensive to go with, especially since this has a 3-minute internal cooldown. This has a 2-minute cooldown, and then this is only 1 minute, and you can get a constant Bone Shield for 10 seconds. So, but next we're gonna look at Gorfine's Grasp, Relentless Winter, and Asphyxiate, which again we did already have, but that's fine. And then we're going to look at Bone Storm. It's 2 runes, 20 runic power, and it's going to be a 1-minute cooldown. A whirl of bone and gore batters nearby enemies 3 times per second to deal 75% of attack power shadow damage, healing you for 1% of your maximum health per strike. It lasts 6 seconds, and it's not channeled, it's an instant cast. So, basically you're just going to put it on you, it's going to spin around you, and, damage enemies for 3 times per second, and heal you. So, basically 3% health every second for 6 seconds. So, not bad. Not a bad little cooldown there either. Next is Defile, which we did see in Unholy already. This one is just 10% less damage to you. And then Breath of Sindragosha, you're gonna get the heal for it, and it's gonna trigger Blood Shield. So, not bad. Blood seems like it might be a pretty good tank spec actually. I gotta say. I'm actually very excited to see it. But alright guys, let's go ahead and jump into Frost. Alright, so Sub-Zero. Killing Machine also causes your next Obliterate to deal an additional 30% damage as Frost damage. That actually sounds pretty badass. Think about how much you get Killing Machine. Like, it procs a lot, so that's definitely not a bad talent. We're gonna have Icy Talons. So Frost Strike hits increase your melee attack speed by 25% for 3 seconds. Refreshing this effect extends its duration, so Frost Strike here and there, you'll get that increased attack speed, and it'll extend the duration. So that's beautiful. That's great. And then Without Remorse, your Killing Machine now affects Frost Strike, and your auto attacks are more likely to generate Killing Machine. So you'd have to give that up for the increased damage, but more Killing Machines, and it affects your Frost Strikes. So that'll be a good little choice to debate upon there. But alright, into the 57 tier, we're going to have Frozen Pulse. So your auto attacks have a chance to cause you to radiate intense cold and inflict frost 30% of attack power damage on all nearby enemies. So basically you're just going to have like a chance to automatically, do some frost damage. So not bad. Biting Winds. This is going to increase the chance of Obliterate to trigger Rhyme by 25%. Up to 2 charges of Killing Machine and Rhyme can be stored. So wow, you can actually get 2 charges of it. That's pretty cool actually. And then Gathering Storm. Remorseless Winter deals 4% more damage with each successive wave. So not bad at all. So 4% more damage building up there for your Remorseless Winter. So very exciting. Big AoE apparently. So we'll see. Alright, so in the 58 tier we have Runic Longevity. So you gain a 7th rune, all that. So these are all the same. You have March of the Damned, Spellbreaker, and Desecrated Ground, which again will be the same. And then Purgatory and Death Pact, and then again the improved Icebound Fortitude. So that these 3 tiers will all be the same as Unholy, with the exception of this changing for Blood. Next we have Gorfine's Grasp, Remorseless Winter, and Asphyxiate, which again we had all 3 for Unholy. And then we're gonna look at Glacial Advance. It's 1 rune and it's gonna cost you 10 runic power. 12-second cooldown. You summon glacial spikes from the ground that advance forward, each dealing 180% of attack damage as frost to enemies near their eruption point. So not bad. I've actually seen this ability used in the alpha already. It looks awesome. It's a pretty cool art, so it's gonna be pretty cool. And then Defile. This actually doesn't have like a special little ability for Frost, which is just kind of upsetting. But either way, Defile we already have. And then Breath of Sindragosha, again, it's the exact same. This one just doesn't have a special ability for Frost, man. It's kind of sad, but we'll deal with it, right? We'll deal with it. Alright, guys, so overall, I think Frost looks pretty good. Pretty good. I think it's going to be pretty awesome. But watch out for my next video. It's going to be Rogues. And, alright, like and subscribe. Peace out, guys.